terms with their own feelings today. Hang on a second.
Yes, Mr. Richard.
Morning, sir. So this is day 6 of the commemorations. The first of the commemorations today is for Esla El Ghwari and Mariam El Ghwari, who lived in flat 196. May I introduce Esla's son and Mariam's brother, Ahmed El Ghwari. Good morning. He has a
Morning.
He has
morning.
a statement with photos which he would like to read.
I'm here today to talk about my youngest sister, Mariam El Ghwari, who died beside my mother, Isla El Ghwari, on the 14th of June of 2017 in Grenfell Tower. Shortly after I turned 16, we lost our father over 20 years ago when Mariam was only 8 and I had just finished my first day of GCSE exams. I was not only an older brother, but had to start playing the role of a father figure and become the man of the house, not a simple task by any measure. As a result, we became a very close-knit family, just the 3 of us, me, Mariam, and my mum. Furthermore, Mum always instilled in us that we only had each other and had to live and had to be there for each other no matter what. That never left me, and I lived by that philosophy. This is the image that you've all become familiar with, my sister, my little sister, since the night of the fire. But I'm here today to tell you who she really was. Mariam was born in London and raised in Grenfell all her life and died in Grenfell at the age of 27. Despite the 8-year age gap between myself and Mariam, we were always told we were very much alike. Obviously, she's the more glamorous one, but we shared many similar attributes, including our sense of humor, lots of banter, our love for sport, particularly tennis, and our drive to excel in both our personal and working lives. Thanks to her friends, there is now a bench at the Westway Tennis Centre in her honour, one of the many tennis courts we both grew up playing on. To fully capture Mariam's personality, I spoke to those who were very close to her, including her circle of friends and someone that was very special to her. I wanted to ensure that I capture her fully and share that story with you today, and to make sure she's not forgotten. Mariam had lots of different group of friends, also known to her friends as Maz. She was adaptable in that way and got on with everyone. What was striking when speaking to them, even though they didn't know each other, or all know each other, they used the same words to describe Miriam. They told me she was happy, a ray of sunshine. One said she creates positive rays of light. Another said that she had positive energy. She was always cheerful and had a contagious smile on her face, regardless of how she was feeling. They said she was funny. She made me laugh, her facial expressions were hilarious, and she didn't care about making a fool of herself. In fact, I see her expressions in my son.
There's absolutely no rush, Ahmed. No rush.
They said she was caring, that she would make you feel second best, that she would never make you feel second best, excuse me. She was always thinking about her friends. They said that she would often give you sentimental presents. My sister was beautiful, an ambitious, talented young woman who wanted to succeed in her marketing career and start a family. She had fallen in love and had so much to look forward to. Naturally, as an older brother, I was very protective. But the truth is, I was relieved she had met someone.
Can you just pause for a second, Ahmed? We're not picking up your voice properly. It's very difficult. If you just put it in front of where you're going to be, and then just try and forget about it.
Okay.
All right?
So I'll just start from there.
Please, yes, do.
My sister was beautiful, an ambitious, talented young woman who wanted to succeed in her marketing career and start a family. She had fallen in love and had so much to look forward to. Naturally, as an older brother, I was protective, but the truth is, I was relieved she had finally met someone decent, and most importantly, she was in love and she was happy. I also know my sister was brave. Some people say she was fearless, but I believe she felt the fear and she did it anyway. In the year before she passed away, she climbed an active volcano, she went abseiling, joined her friends on a small plane across the Caribbean, plus cycled and jet skied around Mexico. We went paragliding together with friends once in Spain, and of course she went first. She loved adventures and she lived for the moment. My sister was confident and strong. She wasn't afraid to speak up or speak her mind and was very secure in her words. She had an inner confidence and had grown into a strong, ambitious woman. She worked hard in her career and it was paying off. On the 15th of June, she was due to have an interview for a dream job with a reputable brand company. My sister was selfless. She was loyal to her family, me and my mum, and to her friends. She was always looking out for others and would figure out a way to help you, even if the solution wasn't immediately obvious. She could have moved out of the flat in Grenfell Tower, but she stayed to look after our mum. She was brave, she was strong, and she was selfless. My sister was all of those things on the 14th of June last year. Our father passed away from an aggressive form of cancer when Miriam was only 8. And so several years ago, she raised money for a charity for men with cancer by doing a 5K Battersea run. But she obviously had to be different, and she couldn't run in normal sportswear, and decided to dress as Super Mario. If you have a Nintendo, you'll know which character I'm referring to. A short, chubby plumber with big eyebrows and a big black mustache. Nothing like her. She ordered the costume and mustache separately. Funnily enough, the costume arrived on time, but not the mustache. Miriam could not possibly run as Super Mario without the mustache. So she rushed around last minute looking for one before the run. After raising money and finishing the race, she posted the words, "This was for you, Dad," on social media. But she also used her memory of Dad in a positive way by filling a role of a grandfather to my son. She recalls Dad always buying her a Kinder Surprise egg and continued this tradition by buying one for my son every time he came to Grenfell. Sometimes she would get a little carried away and buy the large one or the box of 3. What was amusing, she would end up eating the chocolate with my son, and we do wonder, was the Kinder Surprise really for her or my son? The truth is, she loved kids and acted like a kid around my son. She would be really excited when my son's birthday was approaching. In fact, she started planning 3 months in advance each year, and that was Miriam for you. She always loved the challenge, even if it meant being taken out of her comfort zone. She had suffered from asthma, but that did not stop her taking part in Tough Mudder, which is an intense circuit full of challenging obstacles in mud. This was just not a race, but an epic teamwork challenge, perfect for someone like her. Before the race started, she strapped her asthma pump to her vest. During a particular difficult obstacle, she had an asthma attack in the water, lost the asthma pump. Her team took her to the ambulance, and as soon as the medics stabilized her, you would think she would stop. But she continued, ran off as if nothing happened, and finished the last 4.5 miles. And that was Miriam for you. What was important to her, she was determined to finish that race with her team. On the 13th of June 2017, Miriam had come over to my house, in fact, a couple of hours before the fire, and we had a very nice evening with my family, and we FaceTimed my mum, and we planned arrangements to see my mum on the weekend, as we'd always done. Little did I know that would be the last time I see them. "14th of June, 2017. On the night of the fire, my wife woke me up with a call from Miriam. My sister told me there was a fire in the building and that she had already left their flat. I could tell by her voice she was scared and anxious. I knew something was terribly wrong, and I told her to get the hell out of the building. I told her to get the hell out of the building, and I was on my way. At this point, I'll never forget the feeling after I got off the phone with her. I felt very sick, and I knew something was seriously wrong, without even knowing what was happening. We now know that based on the 999 calls, her and my mum were trapped on the top floor even before she called me, before I could even leave, all within approximately half an hour from the start of the fire. I was thinking, what the hell went wrong? Immediately after speaking to Miriam, my friend on the 5th floor called and told me he was out of Grenfell Tower and that it was on fire. A friend who I consider a brother, who lived in that building for over 30 years, who has experience of living in that building and have experience of fires before the refurbishment. Now I'm certain the building was compromised. My mum and sister lived on the 22nd floor and he lived on the 5th. To have the building covered in flames, top to bottom, just verified my concerns, that my family were in real danger. Having myself lived in the tower for over 20 years, I just knew something wasn't right this time. Before the refurbishment, there had been several fires, but none the way she was describing. Furthermore, they never spread. They were always contained in the flat where they started. Not that I know of any spreading previously so rapidly. The drive to Grenfell from home felt so long, and I was inundated with phone calls from residents, ex-residents, and friends, all of which, many of them were coming to Grenfell, heading down as well. I had now arrived and had seen the backlog, the congestion, the gridlock of emergency vehicles, and got out the car. I remember running so fast towards Grenfell Tower, yet it felt so slow. While on the phone to me, Miriam started to calm down and remain patient. She was waiting to be rescued. Meanwhile, I was trying to provide reassurance, comfort, and hope by not explaining the horrifying inferno that I could see from where I was standing. I was trying to protect her. I was so close to Grenfell, so close to the fire. In fact, I was inside the area cordoned off to the public because I refused to move. There were many times I thought about running inside, but it was clear this would have been suicide. As previously mentioned, I know now Miriam was protecting me by not telling me the fact she was already trapped in by fire on the top floor, even before I arrived on the site. She had become very selective in the information she told me and did not display her true emotions. She was protecting me by not telling me the flat where she took refuge had quickly become a death trap. Lots of smoke, thick black smoke, and coughing, but she never mentioned she could see fire. But it was clear she knew it was coming. I can only presume, based on the person I knew her to be, she was trying to keep my mum calm. Trying to keep my mum calm, doing what she does best, which is to help others and be the selfless person we all knew and loved under these horrifying circumstances. I later found out from the last phone call between my wife and Miriam, shortly after the first 999 call, Miriam was clearly distressed, and my mum was freaking out. Distressed by the fact our flat was gone. Distressed that all memories of my father and childhood memories were gone. Everything was happening so fast, and clearly time was our enemy. At this point, you start thinking about the irreplaceable items like the trophies she had won from the various sporting tournaments like tennis, football, the milestones that she has achieved, like a graduation, sentimental things like the birthday videos of me and her that my dad compiled when we were so young, gone. And the jewelry that was passed down from family generations, gone. It was not only Miriam and my mum that passed away on that night. I actually felt like my father died again. And a large part of our life, the important memories were wiped out, erased in a matter of minutes. As a big brother and a father figure, Miriam would always call me when she was in trouble or needed help. And we always knew we would get through anything. However, for the first time in my life, I was in a situation where my family was in trouble and I had run out of options and answers, and there was nothing that I could do. No matter what I said, the truth is they were both trapped. They had become trapped very early on, and there was no way out. I recall moments of silence between us on the phone. And I want you to remember, while I'm going through this, we were a very close-knit family and always protected each other. So you imagine if you can't help your family. Imagine all you can do is simply wait, watch, and listen to the inevitable death penalty live. Just while I'm downstairs looking up, listening, and watching. Witnessing your neighbors trapped standing by the window calling for help. Seeing the uncontrollable and erratic flames moving violently and just hoping that it would just stop rather than wrapping the whole building. And seeing my family home where we grew up completely on fire. Miriam was a fighter, and that night proved it. I told her, whatever you do, keep the phone line open. It was my way of being there with them. I mean, what else could I do? I established very early on, speaking to the emergency services myself, that the probability of survival, let alone getting saved from the top floor, was virtually zero. I had to feel like I was there with them. Miriam was very healthy and had a passion for fitness. In fact, the gym was her second home. As fearless as she was, I knew she had a decision to make that final night. I believed she could have made it out, but I knew she would never leave our mum and would not have made it down due to her medical needs. She stayed back and comforted my mum, as she has always done. Although we were both carers for our mother, it goes without saying that she was the primary carer. On my final call with Miriam, despite her suffering, despite her gradual deterioration, despite her loss of consciousness, she persisted in letting me know that she was still there. She started fading away from me rather rapidly, but she kept going all the way until she was no longer audible. She started to mumble, started banging the floor, and then finally no longer responsive. It was at this point I presumed that I'd lost my mum at the same time. But then about 20 seconds later, for the first time that early morning, I heard my mum's voice. She was struggling for breath.
Just take a pause for a second, Armin.
She was struggling for breath and said her last words, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." That was the last time I heard her voice. She was so frightened that she had not spoken prior to this. I remained on the phone, and all I could hear shortly afterwards was the crackling of the fire penetrating the windows. Fire, violent fire, strong enough to shift the kitchen equipment, while I was outside listening and looking up helplessly. The truth is, Miriam could have disconnected that call, but I'm forever grateful, knowing that I was with her all the way, and that I know she was with my mum. And even though I was not in that room with them, I felt as close as I could have been. Once again, she was thinking about others. We were all together right until their last breath. She was doing what she always naturally did, which was to protect family. It was I who made the decision to disconnect the call, almost an hour after they had gone. I was just listening to fire, but I was just hoping maybe, just maybe, someone would rescue them. But by that time, that would have been suicide for whoever did attempt to go in. So, having already lost my dad, with the exception of my wife, I lost the two most important women in my life that night, my mum Isla and my sister Miriam. My mum and my sister were murdered and cremated on the 14th of June last year. To be more specific, my mum and sister were poisoned by the smoke, they were burnt, they were cremated. I had to listen to them suffer, and I had to listen to them die. I had to watch Grenfell Tower burn for a couple of days, but particularly the top floors. If that's not torture, then I'm not really sure what else is. I had not slept for over 24 hours since the very first phone call, and I knew they were no longer here, and that there was no need for me to go around around hospitals hoping that we'll find them. But I did anyway because my friends were trying to be hopeful, and I was in too much shock to explain what I had just been through. Approximately 3 months later, all I got back was fragments of bone and muscle tissue. Before that, I was hoping maybe, just maybe, I'll get to hold him one more time. So for all the years we spent rebuilding our lives and starting to grow our family, I would have never predicted that I'd be working with the coroner and her team that consists of archaeologists and anthropologists piecing my family back together, bone for bone, as if they were dinosaurs. And I have to thank the coroner and her team for helping me get back every single piece. Although that obviously wasn't possible, we recovered the majority of them. So I have somewhere to go to pray and pay my respects. They were not laid to rest for several months due to the agonizing weight of identifying them. How did the fire start? Why didn't anyone save them? What if there's a fire in our home? What would we do? When is Grenfell going to finish? And what is justice? How do you answer these questions from your 5-year-old son? What would your answer be? We are still waiting for answers almost a year later. How does not having answers make you feel? My son, who's become a little bit too articulate for me, has a very special relationship, or had a very special relationship with his auntie Miriam and his grandmother Isla. And they loved him so much. And this is part of his grieving process. And now he's trying to make sense of it all. As I said earlier, my father passed away over 20 years ago, and it felt like we lost him again, as all our memories with him were destroyed and wiped out within such a short space of time. It's traumatic to have lost a parent at such a young age. It's traumatic for a woman to have lost her husband for approximately 20 years, and then to lose all the memories they had of him. Absolutely painful. It was more than 72 lives lost. It was also the memories which were irreplaceable. I recall Miriam had a photo of my dad next to her bed, and so did my mum. For all the handbags and shoes and jewelry that Miriam loved, the things that mattered the most to her on that night were the loss of her father's memory and caring for our mother. All of a sudden, all of the material things she enjoyed were irrelevant and meaningless. So you tell me, how could I possibly grieve when I have to fight? Miriam was one of the many who voiced concerns about health and safety prior to the fire. She was influential in encouraging people to come together and raise those issues. There was a barbecue arranged for residents of the tower, and she felt so strongly to be there and to ensure people got together. On the night of the fire, I heard her voice for the last time. Today, Miriam has no voice. Now I am her voice. Now I am voicing my concerns for safer homes across the country to ensure we don't have another Grenfell or another Nacknell. We've been here before. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a lot bigger than just getting justice for my family, whatever that may be. It is about accountability and addressing institutional failings. No family, and I mean no family, should have to experience such a catastrophic event which was entirely preventable. This was not an accident. You will have noticed by now I have spoken very briefly about my mum, Isla. I honestly do not have the mental strength or the courage to go into too much detail about her. I find it extremely difficult to even share a photo publicly, but maybe, with time, that would change. I'm simply not ready, and I feel like some things are best kept private at this stage in our grieving process. But I will say a few things which I'm comfortable to share with the public. Mum and Miriam were inseparable, and it's difficult to talk about Miriam without talking about my mum. Mum was not in the best of health, and naturally Miriam always prioritized her before everything. She had a good job and had the financial means to move out, but chose to live with my mum and stay there. She was offered a job opportunity in Dubai, but declined the offer because she couldn't leave and would never leave our mum. She would ensure Mum had everything she needed before going out with friends, going to the gym, going for dinner, or even going for her Portuguese lessons. The fact is, family came first for Miriam. And as recently as last night, we found a WhatsApp message from Miriam that said, and I quote, "I will drop what I'm doing. Family comes first." My mum touched many hearts and was a strong woman who raised Miriam and I on her own since my father passed. She was very youthful, both inside and out. She was also a great authentic Egyptian cook. In fact, we started recording her recipes only several months before the fire. In fact, it was so important to continue our Egyptian culture and tradition. My mum lived in Grenfell Tower for approximately 34 years. She loved to cook for people, including neighbors, friends, and family. We all loved her cooking, and we always remember and miss the taste of her food. And finally, sir, the purpose of sharing this story was to make sure that you had just an idea of how special my mum and sister were to me. It's difficult to comprehend both of these women were taken from me due to a complete catalogue of failures across the spectrum that resulted in the loss of lives in the most horrifying way possible. It's easy to say we did everything we could after the inferno, but what is being ignored is the failure to acknowledge the true and utter incompetence leading up to this preventable tragedy. The repeated warnings about health and safety, the repeated warnings about weak building regulations that have been under urgent review for years, the complacency, the financial conflict of interest, the neglect by everyone that was involved in the decision-making process, the failure to warn that people's lives were put at risk, the lack of compliance. It's probably a little bit too kind. More like the complete non-existence of compliance, because there is no compliance. And the misconception that those living in social housing are simply a group of uneducated and second-class citizens that should be thankful for living in the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. So let me remind you that Miriam was born, bred, raised and educated in RBKC, a borough she loved to live in. She lived in Grenfell all her life and died in Grenfell at the young age of 27. Let me remind you she lived in a community she embraced. Let me remind you she was a successful graduate from Roehampton University, an obsessed sportswoman, a primary carer for our mother, a young marketing manager making positive strides in her early career, a volunteer, a charitable person, a selfless person that was always very excited to do something for others, an important and influential voice before the Grenfell Tower fire. She was a young woman in love, a young woman ready to settle down. She was truly a byproduct of our amazing mother who provided unconditional love and taught us invaluable life lessons. She was my baby sister, Miriam Elgwari. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. That was a really beautiful and moving commemoration, and I could tell how much courage it took for you to tell us all about your sister and your mother. Thank you very much indeed.
May we have 5 minutes to get our breaths back, please?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Richmond, you
Thank
ready?
you very much indeed. So we now have a further commemoration to residents of flat 203, Rania Ibrahim, Fethia Hassan and Hania Hassan. And can I introduce Hassan Awad Hassan, who was Rania's husband and Fethia and Hania's father.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm here today with, in my leftist hand, my brother and my friend, Absalam. And I have my friend, Muhammad Rasul, and his wife, Munir, is my wife, friend, and all her mom and other 4 sisters, Rania, friend as well.
Well, you're all very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, we've got a number of parts of this commemoration. I think there's going to be a video and some statements or some commemorations from you and Munira. Is that Munira? Is that right? So, in your own time, how would you like to start?
Yeah, my name is Hassan Awad Hassan. I live in 203 Grenfell Tower, me and my wife, Rania Ahmed Adli Ibrahim, and my 2 daughters, Fathiya and Hania, Hassan Awad Hassan. Yes, we've been moved there in 2015, June 2015. The first time we get the offer, we go, me, my wife, and my 2 kids, to visit Grenfell Tower. In the same minute, when we been upstairs with the lift, my wife, she advised me, she tell me, Hassan, why we coming to this flat? I tell her, it's next to my work, it's next to everything. If you want to go to your sister, we've been to my work. If I want to come at any time, I can come visiting on you. She asked me one question. That day, the same minute, if the fire on, what do we have to do? And then I asked one of my friends, he been lived there in 16 years in that store. And I asked Haj Absalam, Allah yarham, he's been there for 40 years. When I spoke to my friend, and I asked him, my wife, she asked me a clear question. If the fire on, what do we have to do? He tell me, Hassan, don't worry. This building is being safe. If the next flat next to you is being fire, there's nothing happening to in your flat. I come back to my wife, and I tell her, listen, love, I'm going to leave the flat very nice for you and for my 2 kids. Don't worry. She say, do you know, anywhere you go, anywhere you stay, I'm going to be with you. I think that's the only mistake I do. I bring him to Grenfell Tower. I refresh the flat. I take the flooring, the wall, the ceiling. I make it nice. I make beautiful room for my 2 daughters. I make everything for my 2 daughters, my wife. My wife, she didn't come to visit the flat. I tell her, yes, stay where we're staying now. And he come the way we're moving. And I'm sure you're going to be like it. At that time, I've been using my work flat because Spain is free. I've been spent 3 months there. I continue the last few weeks in Ramadan to stay at Al-Manar when I've been working. That's the flat there. When I'm there, my 2 daughters and my wife tell me, Daddy, we need to stay there. We need to stay there. I tell him, No, we have to go to our flat. This is not our flat. We come the day and we go there and we say Bismillah. That's a mean in Arabic. From God, me and my wife and my two daughters. My wife, when she walk in, like everyone he know, she try to start by praying. She never complain about anything. She always prayed. She will live praying or she dies praying. How come you mashk the way she going? I'm not just standing here crying because my wife she's going. My wife and my kids is very lucky. Because the way he's going, I wish if I go like him. And I'm waiting for my day. We going to the Grenfell Tower. My wife, she's happy. My kid, she's happy. We start the normal life. Like any family starts life. We've been happy. I come in every morning to go to the work. My wife, she come to me in the door. She put her hand, like my two brothers, she put in the hand. And she pray for me. And she say, look after yourself. My daughter behind, it will be, Daddy will love you. And I go all the way down to the work in 10 minutes. And I've been calling my wife. How are you doing? How's the kids? She say, don't worry about us. Do you eat? I tell her, don't worry about me. How is Fatihia and Hania doing? We start in October 5th. Sorry, we start in October. Fatihia, she have to start to go to the nursery. We took Fatihia, me and her mom and her sister, to go to the nursery. We got advice from the nursery. The first day you have to stay with your kids because something new for him. But she never, ever gave me a hard time. From the day one, Fatihia straight away, she enjoy her day. She been happy. When she come, after she finish, she come to my work. She's part-time. She say, Daddy, it's amazing. I like it. When I go back, I tell her, listen, my daughter, you're going to start now for part-time, 3 days a week, and then we'll be full-time. We start normal. I take her every day. I enjoy. She walk with me all the way from the Grenfell to her nursery. We've been talking. I never take Fatihia as the child. I talk to her like big, like the other. When we come in to the traffic, we need to cross the road. I tell her, we have to wait here, Mama, because the man is red. And we've been waiting. I remember one day we late for her school, I'm late for my work, and we need to cut the road. She hold me in my hand. She said, Daddy, the man is red. And I say, well done. You're right. I take Fatihia to her school, the nursery. And her mom, she came in to meet her with Hania, as usually come to visit to me at work. We enjoyed the time. Fatihia, she enjoyed the time. Hania, every day she complained why she didn't go with her sister. Then Hania starts to go to the same nursery. I come every morning to hold Fatihia and Hania. We walk all the way down. At that time, I take the weekend, Saturday, Sunday off, and I take Tuesday to make it for my wife. I tell to my work, I've been working for from 2004. I've been working very hard. I want to spend time with my kids. Can I go back to part-time? At that time, Absalam is my money. Many say that is fine. We've been sitting in our flat in Grenfell Tower. When the weather is nice, I take Fathiya and Hania and Rania. We don't have any plan. Just we walk out and we go. As the fit we take us. We enjoy the time. Tuesday, Rania, she started to have English course. And in that day, she didn't go because she wanted to spend the time with me. I'm going to stop here, and I'll finish my talk after to let you to see the photo. We're going to be in the screen in the minute to tell you how we've been live, how we've been happy, how we've been love. Me, my wife, and my two daughters.
اشرب يا ريت صحة وهنا الله يسلم يا القلب تكبر سنة ورا سنة
بابا دمنو
My sister,
شيلو بابا شيلو
أختي.
شيلو شيلو بابا شيلو بابا ودي لي هنية
هنية
ودي لي حنان
هنية هاي يلا وش 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 Oh, have a lovely birthday يا هني.
Have a lovely birthday. Have a lovely birthday.
Come here, say thank you, Baba.
Thank you, Papa. Thank you, buddy.
The first time I meet Rania, she come in my eyes beautiful. She's angel. She's not like just this normal person. She's always smiling. And straight away just I tell her, can you marry me? From the day one, I know her, she's have big heart. I know her, she's good woman. I know she can be someone who can go with you all your life. It's my wife, she's very good person. She's very good wife, she's very good mom, she's very good sister. She try to be. We've been married only 5 years, but this honey, she's everything for me. Sorry, Faisal. I know this is. Believe me, when I meet this lady, all my life has been changed. She changed all my life.
At the beginning, we just used to meet in the lift, salam, and we smile, and I was thinking, my son and her daughter Fatia, they used to go same nursery. She said, I'm going Egypt. I said, oh, Egypt, I go Egypt as well. My husband is Egyptian. She was like, no, you got to be kidding. And then we exchanged numbers. From that day onwards, Rania was everything.
We do the basically actually wedding. We didn't do like big party. We do it in Al Manar Mosque. After that, we have the good news. Your wife, she's pregnant. Then Fathia is born like 5th of October 2012. Fathia start walking. And she's getting to be like playing here, take this from here, to put here, to take that from here, to move there. And in that time, Rania, she's been pregnant again, and she's doing very well. Fathia, she's very happy. She's going to have brother or sister. And then in 4 June 2014, Hani is coming out to be in this life for 3 years old. We have a beautiful time.
Her children, you pick them up from nursery, like, oh, and everyone will see them, they fall in love with them, especially Hania, because she was cute and chubby, you know. They had manners, they had respect, you know. They just felt like they're my own children.
And then in 2015 Ramadan, the council say you have to move or you have to lose your choice. I say, okay. Me, my wife, Fathia, Hania, we come to visit the Grenfell Tower. We go there. I see one of my friends, he living in Grenfell Tower, and I get in very happy. I say to my wife, let's go stay here. My wife, she refused from the same minutes. She tell me if it's fair on what we have to do. And when I see Hayya Absalam, I see Abdullah, I say, okay, at least if I've been at work, I've been away, I know someone will look after my kids. We moved to the Grenfell Tower. Hania, she following her sister Fathia. If Fathia, she wearing t-shirt, Hania, she want to wear it the same one. If Fathia, she drink water, Hania, she want to drink water. If Fathia, she want to sleep, Hania, she want to sleep. If Fathia, she say, I love you, mama, Hania, she say, I love you, mama. Hania, she go to the same nursery with Fathia. You can see how these two girls enjoy the time in the nursery. Look here, she doing the job. Here, doing the job. Here was her mom. This is mom, she help him playing. You can decide how these two girls with mom. How is happy? This two child, 4.5 and 3 years. Why does this happening to him? Why? Why? What is happening in Grenfell Tower is not normal. For me, life is full stop. I know if I keep talking, I'm not going to get it Rania. But he and Hania back. I'm not going to get him back. I have very good family. I've been just married for 6 years. Hania, her birthday 10 days before the fire. 10 days, she's complete 3 years.
The day before the fire, the whole day, I was with her. We spent the whole day shopping, and everything she would see, she's like, this is for my husband is coming back. The food they ate on that night, I cooked it for them.
When my wife, she called me first time and said the fire downstairs, I tell her, take the kids and go downstairs. And then I tell her, don't worry, inshallah everything is going to be fine. I don't put in my mind it's going to be happening. When I see the fire, when I see the building in Sky News in Egypt, straight away I take my passport and I go to the airport. When I'm inside the airport, I go to the duty free to buy chocolate for my two daughters. I say in my mind, how come I go with empty hand? I arrive here in the same day. I never put in my mind, it's my wife and my daughter is going to be lost. Why I say that? Because we in London.
I didn't get to contact her until later. And when she answered her phone, she heard my voice, she said, Alhamdulillah, Munira, you're alive. I was like, stop thinking about me. She never put herself first. She said, stop worrying about me, I'm fine. But you calm down. She was very calm and she said, I will calm down, but we are waiting for the help. She said, there is no light, it's all dark in here. I couldn't hear the kids at the background. I think maybe that's when the kids are gone. I don't know. We miss her.
Never ever this woman and these two child and the other 86 people die in Grenfell Tower. You're going to be forever until I get to the grave in my heart. My message for the judge, please work from your inside your heart to give justice for other family living like this to be safe. We need to make sure that is not going to be happen again in London, even in all UK. Thank you. just before the end, I want to thank Mr. Absalam Arab. Is with me from the day one, from 2004, when I started working in the same place. Absalam is not just my friend, who is my manager before, it's my brother. I love him from inside my heart, as my kids do as well. When Fathiya and Hania see him, he come running to him straight away. I get a lot of advice from Absalam. The first time, when, as you see in the video and that, when I meet my wife, I come to Absalam and I ask him, and he straight away say, go ahead. When I've been in December, following my wife to Egypt about my brother situation, his diabetes is ill, he's lost his 2 legs. Absalam, he look after my 2 daughters and my wife. If I call him at any time, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, I say, Absalam, Fathiya and Hania need you straight away, going on. I want to say to him, thanks in front of you. Because the way he treat me, the way he's helped me, is big brother. It's good from him. And I want to say thanks to Muhammad and Munira. He keep teach my 2 daughters Quran and English, and being care about my 2 daughters. And I want to say thanks for you all, and for GU, and for all the community. You've been helped the people, and we never, ever we're going to forget the people who's been dying in Grenfell Tower. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was very, very moving. Thank you.
I think Munira might have wanted to say a couple of words. Do you want to say anything, Munira? You don't have to.
Hello, everyone. I don't know how everyone has been doing this, standing here or sitting there talking. It's not easy. I'm talking on behalf of my sister, my friend, my daughter, Rania. She was my neighbor. The moment I saw her, she's one of the most beautiful person you'd meet in your life. She was different. Every time I looked at her as a wife, I felt ashamed of myself. Whatever she was doing for her husband, whatever she was doing to her children as a mother. Rania fed us from day one. Our relationship became stronger and stronger through food, because she loved cooking and feeding people. I was blessed that I was the last person who saw Rania. I can go on and on talking about Rania until tomorrow, until after tomorrow, maybe the next few months. But the last few days, Rania used to tell me, I'm gonna die soon. And when I die, make sure you look after my children. I said, listen, girl, I don't want your children. I want you. I want you and your children. You have to be there for your children, not knowing what was gonna happen. On the day, the whole day, shopping, as I said, my husband is coming back. He was away for family reasons. No any other woman would let that happen to her, stay away from her husband. but she put her husband first and her family. It used to hurt her a lot when the kids say, we want Baba. But she was Baba and she was Mama. And they had their Baba throughout, day and night. We used to have breakfast together, lunch together, dinner together. We used to drop the kids to school together, go shopping together, eat together. We used to share everything together with Rania. On that day, it was her turn to cook iftar. We were fasting. But she was like, my husband is coming soon and the house has to be spotless and clean. I said, you know what? I'll do the cooking. It was such a beautiful day. I cooked. 9:30, I knocked on the door. Rania, here is food. Make sure you eat. She looked at me with such a beautiful smile, like, you know, this is the last time. But I was like, it's not the last time, Rania. I told her, make sure you eat. She stood outside the lift. You can go down. I said, no, you go in. No, you go down. No, you go in. I had to leave. It was sad that I didn't take my phone with me. The time I reached Rania was late. When the phone went through, she heard my voice. She was like, Alhamdulillah, thank God you're alive. Like, no. Stop thinking about me. You calm down. Rania, calm down. I'm at neighbor's place. She said, I'm coming. I've called for help. Help is coming. Later, I went to the neighbor's house. I left the kids, started looking for Rania and the kids. And Rania was nowhere to be seen. There's some bad people out there who are playing on our emotions. So we've seen Rania's first daughter in the ambulance, and we start praising the Lord. Allahu Akbar, Rania is alive, the kids are alive. And then someone calls me on the Facebook, I have Rania's youngest daughter. And then we ran like mad people on the street. Didn't give up on Rania. 10 o'clock in the morning, we went to rugby club, and a friend of mine came running, hugging me, crying. I was like, it's fine, I'm okay. He's like, no. Showing me Snapchat of Rania, saying her last prayers and asking everyone to forgive her. I pushed her away. I said, listen, you can't do this. You can't say this. Rania is somewhere. I'm not giving up on Rania. My sister Fatma came in the morning. She was crying. I said, why are you crying? I'm alive. You know, the stuff that are gone in the flood will get more. I didn't know what she was crying. Non-stop, she was crying. I said, you know, I wasn't in denial, but I didn't want to give up on Rania. Looking at the news all the time, the pictures coming up, Rania and the kids. I'm like, no, they're somewhere in the hospital. The best bit was 2 days later, 3 days. I prayed to God. I said, God, you bring us in this world and you take us. If Rania is still ours, show me the sign. And if she's no more, show me the sign. And I went to sleep, and I see Rania all in white and the kids. She was smiling. It's like, I'm no more here, Munira. I'm no more. She told me, Hania went first. The way I saw her in the dream holding her babies is the way the coroners told Hassan in the bathroom. And then Fatia followed, and then Rania went. I woke up. I said, thank you, God. I prayed. I said, thank you. A few months later, Hassan told me he's going to see the remaining of Rania and the kids. I told Hassan, can I see them? He said, if you want to, you can go and see them. But what's the point What is your last memory? The picture you have in your heart and your mind every time you sleep. The memory you have is them smiling, them running to you. So you're just going to see pieces of bones. He didn't say you're going to see Rani and the kids. He said you're going to see pieces of bones. I was like, oh, okay. If that's how it should be, then okay. Love Rania, and I miss her dearly. I'm so blessed. We're so blessed as a family that we had her in our life once upon a time. And all those neighbors, all those families that we knew in the tower, that no one has answers. My son asked me, Mama, if we were still sleeping, we would be with Rani and the kids now, meaning he would be dead. Who started the fire, Mama? I said, good question. Are we going to ever go back to that building? Are they going to build it again? Mama, why didn't they help Auntie Rania and the kids? I said, that's another good question. If you talk to the counselors, they say explain and say it's okay. Who can come and explain to my children and say it's okay? My daughter is only 2. She woke up, Mama, Auntie Rania fighting in fire. She's 2. What am I meant to tell her? What's there to answer? And we're all here asking the same question. We want answers. We want justice for our families, neighbors, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, nieces and nephews, all of them. We were one. We were all one community, one happy family that we're waiting for answers. Please, as Hassan said, we want answers. We want justice. We want justice for our families, our neighbors, our friends. Even if it will take 100 years, we want justice. I hope not. We hope it's going to be sooner than that. Please, justice. And let's hope that it's not going to happen to any other person out there, other family, because it hurts every single time the person you eat with them, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, school, hospital appointment. Rania used to look after my father-in-law when I'm away, and I had no doubt. My husband used to be at work, and Rania would go give him breakfast, give him his medication, sit down and chat with him. Yet she had to go to college. She had 2 kids. She had her own house. She had her sister to go to. She had friends, but she made time for everyone. Justice for everyone, please. Justice. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So the next commemoration is going to take a little while to organise, and in fact we're going to change the order a little bit.
Right.
But I'm sure through you I can thank all of these people for spending time with us and sharing their thoughts.
Certainly, it's been very valuable and very moving. Thank you very much indeed.
So after the break we will move to the commemoration for Gloria Trevisan.
Right. Thank you very much. I'll rise for a moment. Yes.
Sir, thank you. May I just update you before we continue on one or two things? The first is we will begin very shortly the commemoration to Gloria Trevisan in flat 202. We will then have the commemoration for Isaac Paulos. His family can only be here this morning.
Right.
And so we are going to have that commemoration and then break for lunch, whenever that may be. The family understand that some people may feel that they have to leave to go to prayers, but I hope that as many as possible can stay with us. The other thing is that the family of Raymond Bernard, which is the last commemoration today, are feeling rather overwhelmed today,
Yes.
and have asked if they may go first tomorrow morning. Given the timetable that we have today and tomorrow, it will be perfectly straightforward to accommodate them, and they will move to tomorrow first thing.
Right, thank you.
The other request is, may we please commence tomorrow morning at 9:45?
Yes, if that suits everybody else, certainly.
Thank you very much. This is the commemoration then for Gloria Trevisan in flat 202. Mr. Mansfield is, as you see, with us, and I think he is going to introduce us to those on stage and what is about to happen. Mr. Mansfield.
Yes, that's right. Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, all of you. It is now, of course, just gone midday, so that's appropriate. Before the film, which you will see in a moment, may I just take a time to introduce everybody who's here, because the mother and the father don't speak English, so there's going to be some interpretation. And as with one previous case, I will go a little bit more slowly. So at the far end is Gabrielle, an Italian lawyer in London, who's going to be translating for Emanuela, the mother of Gloria, and also for Loris, who is the father. Now, at the end of the film, perhaps they will be forgiven for wanting to add something, because they have been so overwhelmed by the intensity of feeling that they wish to just add a postscript to the film. So I'll hand the microphone back to Gabrielle at that end so it can be translated at that point. On my left is Christina, the family lawyer from Italy. Next to her is Laura, who will be helping with translation for her as well. And at the far end, Roisin and Eddie, who are representatives of Hanover Bond, the law firm here, who's handling the case. So therefore, having said that introduction, can I ask for the film to be shown? Thank you.
Thank you.
Gloria was a beautiful girl. The kindness of her eyes and her big heart did not go unnoticed to everyone who met her. She was a simple girl who loved laughing and joking. She was 26, light-hearted, and loved life. She loved her friends who couldn't live without her advice. And most importantly, she loved her family. Mum, Dad, her brother Giulio, cousin Georgia, and her grandmother Adelina. And then, of course, her Marco, who held her in his arms until the last breath to protect her. She had a special bond with her mum, Emanuela, and they were joined by destiny by sharing the same birthday. After completing her studies and all the sacrifices she made to finish her degree, she finally graduated in architecture, and then came the time to prove herself. She showed her creativity and passion through her design and restoration works, and in the preservation of buildings rich in history and art. She also had a talent for watercolour drawing and the ability to draw freehand pencil portraits that looked so real and lifelike that they seemed like photographs. These are the talents that caught the interest of Peregrine Bryant's architectural firm in London.
My name is Peregrine Bryant, and I'm an architect specialising in historic building conservation, which I've been doing for many years. And we regularly get applications for people to work here. And the moment we first saw Gloria Trevisan's portfolio, we realised that this was someone with an exceptional talent. And that view was only reinforced when she came to see us for an interview, and we talked to her further. And then when we offered her a job, which we quickly did, and she joined us, her work absolutely fulfilled the promise that we had seen. Unfortunately, she was only with us for a very short time, but even in that short time, she demonstrated what she could do and what a great talent she had. And actually, I've got here a drawing that she helped produce on the Royal Hospital, which was the building she was working on at the time that she died. Her loss is dreadful, and the loss of that talent is something also to be mourned greatly. Thank you very much.
The loss of Gloria has left an immense empty space. It was human greed and immorality that caused this enormous disaster, claiming Gloria's life and future, who, when she understood her fate, in her last telephone call, said goodbye to her parents with the words, "Be strong, I hug you both, I love you."
Thank you for coming today. Please take your time and speak to us.
Buongiorno a tutti. Io in questa sala sento tanto dolore e lo condivido ovviamente, anch'io lo sto vivendo.
Good morning, everyone. I feel a lot of pain in this room and I'm really sharing this with you.
È una cosa che fa molto male sapere che se non fosse stato per una speculazione, per quello che è successo non sarebbe accaduto.
It's something that fills me with pain to know that had it not been for this speculation, for what happened, maybe this would have not happened to my daughter.
Una cosa che ho imparato nella mia vita è non odiare, e l'avevo insegnato anche a Gloria e ai miei figli. E quindi è per questo che io riesco a dire che non provo odio. Certo, non posso dire di non provare rabbia, quella ce l'ho.
One thing I've taught to my children is not to feel any hate for anybody in life, so I can say that I don't feel any hate at the moment. I must say, however, that I feel a lot of anger inside me.
Io penso che la rabbia sia costruttiva, perché davanti a una cosa del genere è il minimo essere arrabbiati, anche perché io mi auguro, spero, che in breve tempo, quantomeno prima che io me ne vada da questa terra, ci sia la possibilità di capire di chi è la colpa e dove sta la verità, insomma.
I hope that this anger is going to be a positive anger, because I would like to be able to find out through this anger some help towards finding the truth. And I hope also that before I leave this earth, before I die, I will be able to find out exactly what's going on and when the truth lies.
Io so che in tanti stanno lavorando affinché la verità venga fuori. Tutti quelli che sono qui, il signor giudice, gli avvocati e tante altre persone lo stanno facendo e mi auguro veramente che questo, insomma, avvenga in breve tempo. Il nostro dolore è sempre grande, non passerà mai, però almeno questo noi lo vogliamo, ecco.
I know that the judge and all the lawyers there in this room are really working hard towards finding the truth, and I'm really grateful for the work, the job that everybody's doing here. However, the pain that we're feeling inside is huge, it's undescribable, and knowing that someone is working for us in this country to find the truth is a bit of consolation and is helping us to go through this moment.
Gloria era una ragazza piena di vita, amava la vita. Gloria amava la sua famiglia, le amiche, il sole, il cibo. Queste cose a lei mancavano molto, nonostante fosse grata per aver trovato subito un ottimo lavoro.
Gloria was a girl full of life. She really loved life, and although she missed the sun, she missed the food, and she missed Italy generally, she was very happy for the work and the job that she had found here, so she was happily settled here.
Il 14 giugno era il giorno del nostro anniversario, del nostro 37° anniversario di matrimonio, e avevo chiesto a Gloria di tornare proprio quel giorno. Purtroppo la scelta è stata una settimana dopo perché ci sarebbe stato il compleanno di Marco. È il destino, non posso dare colpe a nessuno per questo.
The 14th of June was mine and my husband's 37th anniversary, so I did ask Gloria to come back to Italy for our anniversary, and she said she was going to come a week later because it was Mark, the brother's birthday, so it's destiny. I cannot blame anybody for this. It was meant to be that way.
Io comunque spero solo che chi ha deciso, chi ha fatto la scelta di mettere quella copertura su quella torre, quantomeno in coscienza si senta di cosa è responsabile, di quante persone hanno perso la vita per niente o per poco.
I really wish that the person or the persons who took the decision to put that cladding in that tower that caused the death of so many people for no reason, that died in vain, I really hope that that person or these persons will feel in their conscience the pain and the grief that caused to all of us.
Mi auguro che questo serva ad esempio a molti altri che devono scegliere ogni giorno, con il loro comportamento, hanno in mano la vita di tante persone, nel loro lavoro, in tutti i modi. Ecco, io mi auguro che questa cosa cambi quelle coscienze, si rendano conto che devono trattare la vita degli altri e devono avere rispetto della vita degli altri quanto della loro.
I hope that what happened here in Grenfell could be used as an example for those who are responsible in charge of people's lives when they make decisions, generally speaking, and they understand that they have to have respect for everybody's life, not their own. And that would be an example for future generations to understand how life should be respected in all contexts.
Io di Gloria potrei dire molto, ma guardando quello che ho visto finora e ascoltando quello che ho ascoltato, la storia di Gloria è simile a molte altre storie e quindi trovo superfluo parlare di Gloria perché ogni persona che ha detto qualcosa che era anche Gloria.
I could say really a lot of things about Gloria in this room, but after what I've seen today, what I've heard today, I can feel that everybody who spoke before me has just given a bit of a story of Gloria themselves. So the pain that I've seen this morning is the pain of Gloria, is the pain of all of us.
E quindi a questo punto io auguro a tutti quelli che sono qui di non provare odio perché l'odio fa male solo a noi stessi, però di essere arrabbiati in modo da poter dire, bene, siamo qui, cerchiamo di capire di chi è la colpa e cerchiamo di trovare la verità, sì.
I would like to wish to everybody who's in this room today not to feel hate for anybody, because hate doesn't do any favors. I really wish that everybody inside feel anger instead, and the anger would be a way to be a catalyst for finding the truth, because that would be what everybody really wants.
Grazie e un abbraccio a tutti voi.
Thank you very much, and I really hug all of you personally.
Thank you very much indeed for coming to England to tell us about Gloria. We're very grateful to learn about her life and career. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks all of you for giving us this opportunity to speak in public.
Thank you very much. So I'm not going to ask you to rise, but I'm going to invite the family of Isaac Paulos to join us on stage.
Yes, thank you.
And you'll remember the trigger warning I gave that during this video there is a short passage where the inside of the tower can be seen on the day before the fire. Good morning, everybody. Mark, good morning.
Good morning.
Perhaps you'd just like to introduce who's with us this morning.
Yes, Paulos, Isaac's father, and then Nardos, who's a sort of relative, Miri, who's a colleague of mine at Bat Murphy, Genet, who's Paulos's mother, Meserat, who's Nardos's mother, Azalechi, who's Paulos's grandmother, and Hannah, who's Isaac's aunt, and they've been both huge support to the family since the tragedy, and an ongoing support for them. And then at the end is Wasan, who's again a sort of a relative.
Thank you very much.
Isaac.
Now, I think as far as this commemoration is concerned, we're going to hear from Paulos first, and then we're going to hear from Helen.
There's going to be a statement read from Helen by Miri.
Thank you, Miri. And then there's a video.
I think there's also going to be just a very, very short statement from Nardos as well.
Very good. So, Paulos, would you like to start? Thank you. Would you like to bring that microphone in front of you so you're not leaning?
As he said, I'm a father. Nothing was ever more important to me in my life. I was proud of myself with two lovely young boys growing up strong. We named our firstborn Isaac. In our mother tongue language, Amharic, it means joy, to laugh. Isaac made us very happy every day. He was my spitting image. He was my little man. He was a great older brother to Lucas. They were 2 years apart in age, so they were playing together and were friends. My firstborn and I were very close. I loved him so much and have so many plans for him and his education. I respect a good manner and good education. I want my son to be a good, strong man. But we will never know what was in store for Isaac. Just as in the Bible, God tested Abraham's faith by ordering him to sacrifice his son Isaac, but an angel prevented the act at the last minute. For us, there was no last minute. There was no last minute angel. Isaac, my little boy, was sacrificed. Why? May I know? And nothing but the truth will do. The night of the fire, I had said good night to the children and kid them sleep. They were good about going to bed. They are go and the house was fall silent as they drifted off. That night was normal like any other night. We were all asleep and was peaceful. But suddenly I heard a noise in the corridor and we opened the door. We were on the 18th floor in flat 153. There were people on the landing, running and panicking. They said there was a fire and that it was coming up the side of the building. Like a lot of other people that night, I called the fire brigade. I was told to wait, and the fire brigade was aware and that they would come to get us. I called our friends in the building and woke them up. They left their flats and they are all alive. I'm happy I saved their lives. But every day, I ask myself the same question. What if I had not listened and we had left right then and there? My Isaac would be here today. I would not be sitting here telling you about my boy and our pain. I should not be sitting here telling you this testimony. We could have escaped, and I am living with the trauma of asking myself this question over and over again. I have lost my 5-year-old boy, my firstborn, before we had a chance to live together and growing together, before my younger son Lucas has a chance to look up to his older brother, before their mom had a chance to be cared for by her strong firstborn young man. We had not yet begun our lives. We were just at the beginning. That night, as the minute ticked by, I called the fire brigade again and again. The same response. They told me to stay put. That is it. All of us were frightened. Our friends and neighbors was calling and telling me to get out. The fire is spreading too fast up the side of the building. But I kept saying to them, no. They told me they are coming for us. I was trusting the authorities. Isaac was following me around the flat, watching me. Listen, then a knock at the door at around 2 a.m. and a fire brigade at the door. I was relieved and ready for our escape. But no, he said, stay here and advised us to put a blanket on the front door, and that door shut again. It was 45 minutes or so later before I finally got a call and advice to leave right away. We meet the fireman again on the front door. I have given a statement about our escape, so I will not go it here. But I want to say that my son was beautiful, little boy with so much potential. I will never forget Isaac's big, beautiful eyes, his calm-looking wait for his dad to save them all, but I didn't, because I listened to the authority, and that makes me angry. Are we not human? I have to live with the guilt of not protecting my son every day. I am broken, and now the only thing that can make me whole again is to fight for truth and justice in Isaac's name and for life, for my living son Lucas. and for their mother. I have nothing left for except my other son, Lucas. Every time I looked at him, I feel pain. Every time I look at their mother, I feel pain too. I try to smile and laugh to make away the pain from them, to keep them going, but you have no idea what it's like. I feel as though my head has been cut off, as if I am dead. But I have to be strong and has to keep going for my son Lucas. Every single minute from that day, I'm thinking, what if we had not waited? What if that fireman at around 2 a.m. has taken us out instead of told us to wait and shut the door? What if? And this what if makes my head and heart exploded with pain and anger, and my heart shredded. But I have to keep smiling. Don't cry. Don't show your emotion. Be strong. Be a man. Be a strong father. My life is in ruins. I have nothing to live for except Lucas and the memory of my beautiful, innocent Isaac. As a family, we are missing a big pieces of our lives. We cannot even bear to talk about what's happened. Lucas looks away if he sees Isaac's picture. I cannot bear to look at myself in the mirror. His mom has her church and her face to keep her going on. And I was only able to say my beautiful Isaac name just 3 weeks ago. I want the truth. I will not have peace until I have the truth. I want to know why I was physically stopped from leaving the flat at about 2 a.m. Why were we kept inside for so long? What was responsible for that recession? I want answer. If I had not listened to the fire brigade, my son would have been likely alive today. Isaac was a talented boy who brings joy and happiness to everyone. Now, my joy has gone, and my laughter, who always been a teen film to mask the everlasting pain. My Isaac, my boy, my firstborn, rest in peace. I'll do everything to fight for my son to bring son. I love you, Daddy.
Who's going to go next? Why don't you tell everybody who you are?
My name's Nardos.
Tell us again.
Nardos. From the outside, Isaac, he seemed like an average 5-year-old boy. He went to school, he had friends, and loved gambado. But during the 5 years that I'd grown to know and love him, he proved he was much more than that. He was special and hardworking and mature. Whether he was at home or at a sleepover, it didn't matter. He wouldn't leave his seat without finishing his homework. He enjoyed learning. He enjoyed football, taekwondo, and swimming, and he did everything with passion and joy. He never forgot about his friends. He never flaunted his talents. He just shared his love and play. He never wanted to leave our house. I remember how him and my brother made plans to trick my parents to letting him stay. Isaac was like the perfect brother to me. He always treated me with respect. He was always energetic, and he had fun. June the 14th, 2017 was meant to be a normal day. You never think something like this could happen to someone you love. I watched the news every day, but nothing could prepare me for the reality of what happened that night. At first, I tried to convince myself that Isaac was okay, that he was safe in a hospital somewhere. But every time I called my mother and asked for news, it was always, we're not sure. From that month on, all of our hearts have been filled with a void. And the lives of all of us, Isaac's mother, father, brother, relatives, my brother and my sister, they've been changed forever. Although Isaac is not with us today. It brings me peace to say that he earned his position in heaven. He was a loving boy, and he'll always be living in my heart, and I'll never forget him.
Thank you very much. Miri, I think you're going to try and do the newfangled miracle of trying to read from a phone.
Yes.
Just take your time.
So I'll just read a very brief poem that's written by Helen, who's the cousin of little Isaac, before the film. In Isaac's memory, how can I start and what shall I say? I have no words to describe it. How much I miss you forever. No longer running around and kicking a ball. The Grenfell Tower's fire took you after all. No longer to see you jumping like a Spider-Man. No longer to see your excitement building a snowman. Neither playing at Christmas like Joseph and Mary, nor playing at home, hide and seek. I miss your smile every week. It was on Saturday we said our usual goodbye, not knowing that I will never be able to see you again. Instantly, the Grenfell Tower's fire snatched you away. The joy and happiness you used to share with us. Now there is a gap that shows your absence. We all were hoping to see you grow young and old, but that will not be happening. Your life came to an end. The 14th of June is on its way to remind us of sad memories. What a horrible thing to remember and bear with forever. Your life has been swallowed alive by Grenfell Tower's fire. Let alone a child, family, and friends. No one should go through such tragedies. Isaac, little angel, rest in peace. I love you and miss you forever. Helen.
We'll now watch the video commemoration which you've made.
በድንገተኛ ቅስበት ሕይወታችንን የለወጠው ያንን የጨለማ ቀን በምንም መልኩ ልረሳው አልችልም። ያ ቀን ያሰቃቂ እሳት አደጋ የደረሰበት ቀን ማስታወስ ባልፈልግም ከዛ ቀን ጀምሮ ሕይወቴ ተቀይሯል። ደስታ የሚባል ነገር ርቆኛል። የኔ ካሰቃቂው አደጋ መትረፍ አንዳንዴ እንደ መትረፍ አልቆጥረውም። ልቤም መንፈሴ ደስታዬ ህልሜ ሁሉ ከምወደው ለአንድ ቀን እንኳን እንድለየው ከማልፈልገው ውድ ልጄ ይስሐቅ ጋር አብሮ ተቃጥሏል።
This is the hardest thing I have ever to do. But I decide to do it for my son. I am a father of 2 sons, Isaac and Lucas. Isaac was born on 22nd of September 2011 in Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. He was baptized in St. Mary London, Debre Zion Ethiopian Orthodox Church.
One of my kind of most loveliest, or the loveliest memories of Isaac was watching him dig for those worms. And I remember coming into your classroom and he just began to read. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe, how well he was writing, how well he was reading, and he just had so much to live for and such a great future in front of him.
I might say a few things in Isaac's own words that I've got here. And he says, I like to play outside and with the capes. These are the superhero capes. And I know how to go on the tunnel and the climbing frame, and I go on the pole. I have a pole at my park, and it's very long. Abem lives on the 2nd floor, and I live on the 18th. I'm the biggest. I'm near the 22nd floor. 22 is a massive, humongous number. My favourite toys are cars.
Also, like, he had such great friends at the school. He had his Ebenezer and Yabsira and Abem. They played together outside beautifully, and every day you'd find them down the back of the garden playing football together, running and screaming.
We always used to play football, or Dr. Goose. Yeah.
He loved Arsenal Football Club like me. I bought his Arsenal shirt when he was 2 years old. His mother would say he is a Chelsea fan. But when he had to choose, he chose Arsenal.
I think he wanted to be a doctor or professor. He wanted to be a Professor Isaac. He wanted to be a footballer.
Sometimes there would be, arguments as they happen, but they could always seem to work it out because they were such good friends, and the children really loved to spend time with each other. Isaac's favourite place was the outdoor part. That's where he felt most at home, and that's the place where he grew the most because he was such a strong little boy.
ሲሄድ ይስሐቅ ፓርክ ሲሄድ የነበረው መቦረቅ እያሰብኩ አለቅሳለሁ። የማያቋርጥ ሩጫውን እያሰብኩ ከጓደኞቹ ጋር ለማገናኘት የምናፍቀውን ሳስብ ከልብ ጓደኛው ጋር ለመገናኘት ለመጫወት የሚናፍቀውን አብሮ.
And I remember every morning he was so happy that he was at school. That was him every day, and he had a great sense of humor. I remember his silly jokes, and he made everybody laugh.
Yeah, he had a lot of friends in the class. He was everybody's friend. Although he obviously had his select few, his best friend Abem.
Dear Isaac, to Isaac from Abem. Isaac, I hope you will come, and I am sad. Sorry, I will miss you so much. You were my best friend ever. Also, we were singing for you. You will be forever in my heart, also in my mom and dad and my grandmom's heart. I love you, Isaac.
He took great care with his friends. He was very, caring. Like one day I saw him with Abem, and he was tying the cape, the superhero cape, around Abem's neck. And it was just so touching to see these two little boys and this little Isaac caring for him. And he said, I can't tie it too tight because it's dangerous to tie something too tightly around someone's neck. And I was really touched by that.
I remember how excited he was when he was telling us about his dad coming home soon from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Ethiopia, yes. He was really excited, and then he showed us his new trainers that Dad bought for him.
Yeah, he said, and some more words of Isaac, because we write these on the snapshot. He said, my mummy speaks another language. She speaks Amharic. I can speak Amharic. And Wadiza means go left. So when he was playing with cars and things, he'd use that expression. He was very proud of his background.
He was very proud. Very often he spoke about he was saying my country.
Yeah,
about Ethiopia.
And very proud of his daddy.
Yes,
he really was
he absolutely
proud.
adored his dad.
Yeah.
Me and Isaac were very close. People even said how much we look like. His expression, his laugh. I put our two toddler pictures side by side. You could not tell the difference. Isaac was always there to welcome me home. As I walked through the door, he was always the first person to run to me and say, "Hello, Daddy." He would jump in my arms and give me a big hug. I can still feel it and hear his voice, "Daddy," in my ear. Sometimes he blocks the doorway to stop me from leaving the house. He would stand in front of the door with his little arms out and say, "No, you are not leaving me."
Isaac also was really very modest and humble little boy. I remember one day I found him in the classroom reading the story of the Grenfell to himself. He had memorised nearly all the words, but he could actually read. He has so much to live for. He's such a bright future ahead of him.
It's like his heart is full of God, and he's a very nice boy.
Isaac is like my younger brother. I miss him so much. I always think about him. I was crying about him. I never said goodbye. I never got a chance to say I will miss you. I never got the chance to say I love you. No one can replace your friendship. I hope the angel will look after you.
The thing about Isaac, he had a gift for mathematics. He was gifted in that area, and he also attained a really high level of reading for his age. With writing, he found it a challenge at first, but he wouldn't give up. He just kept on trying, and in the end, he did it to a good standard. So he had that, I think he had so much potential that it's sad he hasn't had the opportunity to reach that, because he really, out of all the children in that year group,
Yes.
he was the shining star, the one that stood out as having not only the intellectual capacity, but a sort of an emotional maturity that could take him far in life.
He's always a good boy, and then he always used to get mistakes, and then he always used to fix up the mistakes. He never gave up.
We played Lego together. We also read books. He was good in maths. He also loved taekwondo. After school every Tuesday, he used to go to maths in Kumon and taekwondo. The practice paper used to take him 30 minutes, but the last Kumon lesson before the fire, it took him just 8 minutes, but no time to celebrate after he went to taekwondo. I was thinking to celebrate the next day, but it didn't happen.
He really enjoyed when we did the bonnet parade, although he didn't really want his photo taken. But you know, he really enjoyed making his Angry Bird hat. And it was a great day, had by all the children. It was a fun day where all the staff were together and everyone was happy. And I remember it just being quite a funny day. And it was a beautiful sunny day as well.
And on days like this, I always think that the sun is shining on us and Isaac's looking down on us. And I remember the day when we released those balloons, when we released them up into the sky. It was quite a cloudy day, wasn't it? And the minute those balloons rose into the sky, the sun just came out. And it just felt that he was there with us. And I'll always remember how beautiful, you know, that memory was.
I picked the name Isaac is because in my mother tongue, language Amharic, Isaac means joy, happiness, and love. I was really happy, proud, and grateful that until
14th of June 2017. But now my joy is gone.
And another thing that struck me about when that first home visit, they'd only just moved in, they didn't have many possessions, but the thing that struck me was so full of love, the household.
Absolutely. You could see that he was being loved by both parents.
He was never, ever, 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 100 times ever, 100% ever naughty. Naughty?
He'll have a special garden where we can go and lots of children can sit on his bench and remember him.
I was always devoted and committed to my little man, Isaac. Now, I'm worrying for Lucas, my youngest son. What will he feel as he grows up? He lost his brother. He is still not talking about it. Even he sees his pictures, he looks away.
In his short life, he brought a lot of joy to a lot of people's lives, and certainly a lot of joy to his class and his friends. And we'll always remember him. And he'll always have a very, very special place in all of our hearts, and a very special place in this school.
አይኔ ያነባል ሐዘኔ መራራ ቢሆንም ልጄን ልዑል እግዚአብሔር አደራ ሰጥቻለሁ። አደራ የማይወስድ አምላክ ነፍሱን በገነት ያኑርልኝ።
Thank you very much indeed for coming to tell us all about Isaac. Really, really moving and really helpful to see that. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, everybody. Please don't feel the need to rush. We're about to have a break. So if we may break now, I think it's 1:05. May we say 2:15?
That was just what I was going to suggest, Mr. Richard.
Forgive me for interpreting too soon.
2:15 then. Thank you very much.